I've got to get my glasses on, so I won't be able to see you once I've put my glasses on, but I will be able to read this. Hello, my name is Fiona. Don't worry if I've introduced myself already. I'm Fiona at the moment, and I'm 8 years old. My mum and dad used to fight. One day, my dad had a knife, and Mum had to call the police. We had to run away, and now I can only see him if there is someone else there as well. Mum got a new boyfriend and had my little sister, Edie. She's nearly 2. Then last year, Mum got cancer and had to have an operation. When she came home from hospital, my stepdad said we couldn't live with him anymore and we had to leave. We didn't have anywhere to go. We had to live in a place called a hostel. It was a very long walk to school and back, and Mum is often very tired. Mum isn't very well and she sleeps a lot. She has to take tablets, and when she takes them, she sometimes gets sick. The tablets are called chemotherapy. I thought my mum would get better in a few months, but then I heard my grandma talking to someone, and she said that Mum was going to die, but I don't know when. She's still my mum, and she still takes me to school and back, and Mum is often very tired. She takes me to school and she cooks the tea. Maybe Grandma has made a mistake. I sometimes get very angry. I had to leave a lot of my things behind when we moved, and I hated it. I have a few nice things now, but my little sister messes with my stuff, and I shout at Mum to keep her away. Sometimes I tell my mum that I don't care if she dies, and that makes her cry. I do care. I'm just frightened and angry. Who is going to look after me and Edie? A few weeks ago, just before Christmas, Mum told me that I would have to be patient as we didn't have anything and she didn't have much money. I was really angry. My friends would all have presents and a tree, and I was stuck in this stupid hostel with just Mum and Edie. Grandma doesn't live near us, and sometimes Mum is too poorly to go on the bus to take us to see her. I decided to ignore Christmas and pretend it was just another day. Then, one day, Mum had a visit from a lady while I was at school. The lady was from something called Safe Families, and she came back the next day when I was there and brought another lady called Hannah. Hannah said that she has little girls as well, and one was nearly the same age as me. Hannah said that I could go and play at her house sometimes when Mum isn't feeling well. She was really nice, and she bought me a little present which her daughter had made. A few days later, I came home from school and there was loads of food in the kitchen. Mum said that the Safe Families lady had been and bought us lots of food for Christmas. We still didn't have any decorations, so it didn't feel like Christmas. The next day I got home from school, and guess what? We had a Christmas tree from the Safe Families lady. We didn't have any decorations, but our social worker got some money for us and we went shopping and decorated our tree. I felt much better. On Christmas Day, when I went into the living room, there were so many presents waiting for me and Edie. I couldn't believe it. There were even a few presents for Mum. The Safe Families lady had told some people that we couldn't have Christmas this year, and they bought us some lovely things. In the holidays, I got to go and play at Hannah's while Mum went into hospital. And when I went to Hannah's church, it was brilliant. There were lots of children and not too many prayers. Mum has told me that another lady and her husband are going to come and see us. They've got 2 spare bedrooms in their house, and this means if Mum's ill and has to go into hospital, Edie and I can go and stay with them and not have to go into foster care. I don't want to go into foster care. The people have also said that if Mum's poorly and can't look after us, she can come with us as well so she can rest, but we don't miss her. Last week, we moved house again. It's brilliant. It's close to school, so I don't have to walk for miles. We have a table and a little sofa and a fridge. I don't have a bed yet, and me and Mum and Edie have to sleep on the floor. We don't have any proper plates either. But the Safe Families lady has been to see us and is going to bring us things for our house. I might even have some curtains and paint for my new bedroom. I don't like to think about Mom being ill, and I really hope she doesn't die. But the social worker is helping us, and we have some new Safe Families friends now. Mom doesn't cry as much because she can phone people up if she's sad, and they will visit and talk to her and help her when I'm at school.
Hello, my name's Helen and I'm 51 and I'm the Safe Families lady. And that is a real case that we worked with just before Christmas. An opportunity I had to visit Mom at half past 12 on Thursday lunchtime. And I thought, it's nearly Christmas. Who's going to help this family? Everyone's involved in their own families. None of our volunteers are going to be free. And I really prayed about it, and by 11:30 the next morning, so less than 24 hours, I was back in that hostel with a volunteer who was going to help that family. And so that was just God's work, God's working on that situation, and we managed to save Christmas for that family, which is really important. Safe Families for Children is a Christian charity. We work across the Black Country, but we also operate nationally, so we're spreading into more local authorities across the country. Currently in the Black Country, we have contracts with Dudley and with Sandwell, and we also have a contract with some West Bromwich Church of England churches who have put together their missions money in order for us to work in their attached schools, so we'll be able to really get in where families, when they first start to need some help. We've also got a small contract with Compton Hospice, so we can support families where they've got somebody in the family who's at the end of their life. The aim of Safe Families is to get families in crisis back on their feet. Families, I'm sure you would agree, are very under pressure, very undervalued in our society now and under-supported. There's so many cuts that have happened to public services, and many of them have affected families and children. And Safe Families for Children works alongside the local authority to help support and motivate families to keep children out of care. If you want to have some figures around children in care, Sam's got some in her head. I don't have them in my head. The aim is to keep them from getting to have to be outside of their own families, because we know the outcomes for children who've been in care are not good. So I want you to think briefly about your own family. And the last time you had a crisis, because we all have a crisis at some point in our lives. Who did you go to? Who helped you? Was it your family? Was it your friends? Was it your church? Was it God? Who do you have to turn to in a time of crisis? Because crisis can very quickly turn to disaster. And we can end up with people intervening in our lives who we don't want to be there. And that's what happens to many of our families. So Sir Peter Vardy, who, if you've ever bought a car from Reg Vardy, I don't know, I'm a bit young, I think, but anyway, if you've ever bought a Reg Vardy car, Sir Peter Vardy, his son, set up the charity after he sold the motor business, and he wanted to partner with churches to create an army of volunteers that can get alongside parents and help in whatever way we can. And that's the point. We work in partnership. Just like we're doing with Fiona's family. With Fiona's family, there's a social worker, there's a school, there's the nursing staff, there's the church now, because she's got the children started to go to church with their volunteer, and who knows, Mum might end up going to church as well, and that would be amazing. And there's us, the charity, to work in partnership. I don't know about you, but so often I've found as Christians, we bemoan the fact that we get sidelined, that agencies don't want to partner with us because they won't want us because we're Christians. How often have you been in a prayer meeting and prayed for favour with a local authority, that God would give us favour? Well, do you know, this is the answer to some of our prayers, because the local authority, the councils, are asking the church to partner with them because they can see we've got something to offer that they can't. When I went to a council meeting this week with my manager, and we're very open about our Christian ethos. We talk about introducing families to church. We're really open about our faith. And that's our aim, and they accept that. And in fact, I had a social worker say to me one day on the phone when a child has stopped going to the youth group, she said, you need to get those kids back into church. That's where they need to be. Now, some of us would think that social workers wouldn't say that, but actually they realise the church is the answer. And the Bible speaks very clearly in our responsibility to those in need. In Proverbs 19:17, it says, "Whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord, and he'll repay him for his deed." Isaiah 58:10, "If you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then shall your light rise in the darkness, and your gloom be as the noonday." And Matthew 25:35-40, I was here stealing David's thunder here. "I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me." Then the righteous will answer him, saying, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you a drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?" And the king will answer them, "Truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers, you did it to me." And I have had the opportunity, and Sam has started working with us now, and she's going to have the opportunity to literally clothe those who don't have clothes. I've taken clothes out when children have been sent out in just a leggings and T-shirt in cold weather, and we've provided coats and hats because I've genuinely not been able to buy those. We've taken food, as you've heard in that story. I was a stranger. We work with asylum seekers sometimes. At one point last year, I was the only person anybody knew in the West Midlands. This woman knew. I was the only person she knew. And we welcomed her as a stranger, and we tried to put people around her to strengthen her. I've not visited anybody in prison yet, but I have been into some very dark situations in the psychiatric hospital. First time I'd ever done that. It was an eye-opener for me. But, we go to where people are, and we meet them in their time of need. Because with Jesus, belief and actions are one and the same. And we need to bring discipleship and love to others. Because what good is belief? What good is our faith and our Sunday mornings unless it offers hope to other people? And hope is what we offer. We don't offer miracles, although sometimes those do happen, and I look at a situation sometimes and I'll go, what are we going to do with that? And we pray about it and it just releases. And we do see miracles, and we do try and explain that to the families as well, because they'll say, why would somebody help me like this? Why would somebody do this for me? And it gives us that open opportunity to talk about why we do it and talk about our faith. We come alongside hurting and chaotic families with compassion and without judgment. We don't say, well, if you hadn't done this and you hadn't done that, it wouldn't have happened, would it? Because somebody else is doing that. The social worker's doing that, or the police officer's doing that. We come along and we say, okay, it's happened. So how are we going to walk through it? And let me walk through it with you. And that's what our volunteers can do. We introduce you to families. We say, this is what's happened. And you say, okay, I'll walk that with you. I was reminded last week about the man at the beautiful gate in Acts 3. When Peter and John saw this man and he asked them for alms, and they said, silver and gold we don't have, but what we have we'll give you. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk. And so the man stood, and he didn't just walk. He was leaping, wasn't he? He didn't just get better and toddle off. He actually was leaping and praising God. But to encourage him to begin to walk, the Bible says that Peter reached for him and helped him up. The man's feet and ankle bones were healed and strengthened. And many of the families we work with are like this man. Something has crippled them. It might be addiction. It might be breakdown of a relationship, domestic abuse, as in Fiona's case, depression. Singing that song, I am who I say I am, and then singing I'm no longer a slave to fear. So many of I would say the majority of our families are slaves to fear. They're slaves to depression and anxiety. They have no self-esteem. Sam and I went to see a woman on Monday, didn't we? And all she could talk about was, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, I've got tattoos, I'm fat. That woman couldn't see beyond herself. So we've got a lovely volunteer to strengthen her, to help her see herself in a different way. And as we strengthen her, she'll parent better. And her house will be better because she'll have worth in herself. And sometimes it's just about giving somebody back their self-worth and pointing them in the direction of where they can find who they really are. I always encourage families that whatever has happened and however they feel, they don't have to live there. It's our mission to come alongside and help them make changes and see a real difference. Even in the case of terminal illness, we can make a difference. Some families don't want to make a difference. Some families don't want to clean their houses. And we have to go in with a bit of tough love. And I've had to say to families, unless you tidy your house, something is going out when they're cluttered and they're what do they call it, hoarding. I remember saying to one mum, something is going out of your house. It's either your rubbish or your children, and you have to decide. We have to sometimes be tough with families, but we do it with love. We may build their self-esteem. We may take children out for a bit because mom is just crazy with her kids. You know, they're all over the place and she's got lots of them. We're working with some really big families. And just to take a couple of the children out when you've got 7 or 9 children, if somebody takes 3 for you, you feel a bit better, don't you? To give the children some positive experiences as well. We're working with one family where the children were rabble-rousing in the street. And so we have put, with the oldest child who's 11, a retired head teacher. We haven't told the little boy it's a retired head teacher. We didn't tell him that. But that boy, that lad, he's now got this strong male role model in his life, and he's beginning to change. He's calming down. He's not getting excluded from school as often. Things are changing. He's doing his homework, even his fractions. He's changed, things are changing. The little girl who's 6, she bounces off the walls, and she's got a lovely volunteer, and she takes her out, and they sing Greatest Showman songs in the car, because that's what little girl wants to do, and that's fine. And we've got another child in the household, and he's got a volunteer as well, doing kind of boys' stuff. Because a lot of these families haven't got dads. They haven't got uncles who are interested. They haven't got granddads. And so for men, if you can come alongside a family and be that dad, that strong male role model to show boys how they behave as men, that's what many of our families need that don't have those role models. Parents have not been parented, and they need to see from us how we parent. And children need to see how families operate properly. So when they come alongside your children and they see the way you parent, they'll start to get it. That's the way I should speak to my mum. Okay. So I hope you're getting an idea of what kind of things that we can do. And also, when I speak to parents, they've often got no idea how anything can change. They've got no idea how tomorrow can be different to yesterday. And as we come alongside them, we work out what they really need and begin to raise their expectations, just small goals of what they can accomplish. We begin to speak life into them. And through our own stories, because no one can refute your story, we can begin to introduce them to the Lord. I had one mum say to me one day, if I was in this situation, what would you do? So I said, I would pray. So she said, well, will you pray for me? And I was like, absolutely. Now, the local authority can't sack me for that because I don't work for them. And also, Mum wanted it. She asked me. So, hey, she asked my opinion. Peter lifted the man up. He needed help getting back on his feet. And we're surrounded by people who need help to get back on their feet, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and financially. So what can we do? Your hand extended in compassion and faith can lift them. They don't need you to spend the rest of your life supporting them. That's not what we do as a short-term service. They just need a hand up. Plus, when the opportunity arises, an introduction to Jesus. So families, volunteers do this every day all over the country. Take people who are hurting, broken, and in trouble many times, hold their hands and help them to stand. They may wobble for a bit, but we aim to bring stability. And we get to share our own testimony and be, as Dave says, the hands and feet of Jesus in those situations. I'm not saying every family we work with will come to church, but when they've had you in their home, they've had God in their home, and they've been able to see the example that you set, the example of how to live, the example of how to manage, the grace that you show, and the unconditional love which doesn't blame them or judge them, but brings hope into a dark place. So how can you help, and how can this church partner with us? We've got 3 different ways of helping. Firstly, what we do the most is befriending, doing what any good family friend would do. So Hannah has come alongside this family, and she and her husband are taking the children out, taking the children round to their house to play, giving mum some time to rest, and taking the children to church. And Fiona definitely said, I don't want to go to church, I don't want to say lots of prayers. And she was relieved when there were just a few prayers, and not loads of prayers. Val is an older lady, and she's coming alongside Mum as like a mother figure. So Mum can go to Val when she's feeling really anxious. She can say, I'm really scared. And Val will say, I know you are. Come on. Val can take her out for a coffee. They can do things together. Val can be that rock that Mum doesn't have in her own mother. She has a mother, but as the story said, they have to go on the bus to see Grandma. Grandma doesn't come to them. Now, I don't understand that. If my daughter was poorly, I would go to her. But not everybody thinks the same way that we do. We have to just bear that in mind. And Jane and her husband Simon are looking to host the children. They've got a couple of spare rooms. Their children have moved out, and they're looking to take the children if there's an emergency, so don't go into foster care. We've got lots of volunteers who'll do that. Mum's having a baby, no one to have the other children. People will just take the children while Mum has the baby and then give the children back when she's home. It's not like foster care. Mum's in control of how much those volunteers have the children. But obviously Mum's at end of life. She doesn't want to be separated from her children. So Jane and Simon have said, Mum can come and stay. Mum can come and stay. So she can be there, she can be with them, but we will help look after the children. And then how do we get the Christmas presents and the tree and the food? It's because we can put emails out to a lot of our volunteers, what we call resource volunteers, and you get an email and it'll say, we need this. So you've got a spare Christmas tree, or you see one for £5 being sold off in Asda, I'll get that for that family. Or you've got some spare children's clothes because your children have grown out of their clothes and we need them, you can let us have them. We can't store things, so we just tend to email out when we need things. But that family were blessed at Christmas because people took the trouble to just give them one little thing. Several people did that, and that family had a huge blessing. Now, that family ended up with 3 turkeys. But that was brilliant because Mum is actually embarrassed about the support because not all families want it. They're a bit embarrassed. So she ended up with 3 turkeys because various people gave her them. So she blessed a homeless family in the hostel with a turkey. And then she felt good because she'd helped somebody else out of how she'd been helped. So that gave her some self-worth back as well. So are you a hope carrier? Do you want the opportunity to carry hope and light? That outside of this church, we can actually draw people in, but actually we can get you through the front door. And that's really important because we often can't get through the front door of homes, can we? But we can get into the front door and you can sit down in someone's living room, have a cup of tea and talk about what's going on. The commitment is as little or as much as you can offer. A lot of people say, I'm so busy. And, if you can offer an hour a month, if you can offer a couple of hours a week, it depends on what your circumstances are. If you can go and have a cup of tea with a mom or a dad, or you can take some kids out when you're taking your own children out, say, okay, we're taking ours to the park, let's go and include them as well. And you just bring them around you as a family. We train you, we support you, and you'll be part of that army of volunteers, working in partnership and being salt and light to those who are weary and have lost their way in life. Because we can all lose our way in life a little bit sometimes, can't we? And some of us probably have. So if you can join with us and partner with us to bring hope into the lives of those who've lost hope, who are facing problems and are sometimes in trouble. Some of our families are this far from having their children taken into care. And we're coming alongside as an emergency saying, come on, we can get you through this. We can do this together. Let's make changes. If you can do that, please come and chat with Sam and I at the end because we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love about partnering as a church. We'd love to talk to you about you becoming volunteers for us, again, for as little or as often, as much time as you can offer. But we really can find a job for everybody. We joke in Safe Families, it's a bit of a joke, and we say if it's not dangerous or illegal, we'll do it. Because we're a charity, we can do what we feel is the right thing. We're not constrained. And we also fit our service to every family. The family doesn't fit the service. So we'll just say, what does this family need? What do you say to Mum, what do you want? Because many times nobody's asked Mum what she wants, or Dad, or the kids. And we say, what would you like? And we try and bring that service alongside. But most of its overarching thing is prayer. And we really need you to pray for us. We go into some fairly difficult situations sometimes. And I've certainly been on the doorstep of more than one home with my referral in my hand, thinking, I don't want to go in this house because I don't know what I'm going to do when I get in there. And I'm a little bit scared. And I don't know how I'm going to start to meet this child's needs or this family's needs. But I just know it's not about me meeting the needs. God meets the needs and he meets it through us. and we are his hands and feet. So if you'd like to join with us, please come and have a chat. Thank you so much for listening.